Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to MTGO Masters, the most premium online show when it comes to Magic the Gathering that we currently have. My name, well, I'm Will Hall, better known on the internet as the Will Hall XP. That man is my partner in crime. That is Anarch Das, and we are so happy that you are all here to watch what is about to unfold. Anu, how's your week been, my friend? How much are you looking forward to tonight?
I mean, there's been some big news in the modern format, and this is basically our first look at what the format might hold in store for us. I cannot tell you, Will, how excited I am. That's right. Violent Outburst is banned in Modern.
No more. No more. Can't play it. Can't have instant speed rhinos. I'm sure there is a way. Electro Balance. There you go. 4 of it already broke the format. But let's just move on. We're going to have a lot of talk about that tonight. I'm sure we are, from not only ourselves, but also the players taking part. I want you to tell everybody to just tune in. What is MTGO Masters? What is this event?
Yeah, so welcome everybody. If it's your first time here, MTGO Masters is a gathering of 16 Magic the Gathering, okay, no pun intended, celebrities who are here to basically bring you some amazing modern content. Over 12 weeks, we're going to be seeing them all battle against each other. We've divided the system into pods. We'll get into that in a little bit. And we're going to try to crown a champion here to see who is our MTGO Master for this first season.
Well, on that one, let's talk to you about how those pods work that you literally just mentioned then. The key thing that you need to keep in the back of your head, because it can get a little confusing at times, is you need to win 2 games before you can lose 2 games. You need to win 2 pods before you lose 2 pods. So if you win a pod tonight and then you lose the next pod, you can win the 3rd pod and you're into the top 8. If you lose 2 games tonight, you're going to go to the losers pod. But then if you win 2 more games and then win 2 more games in the pod after that, you're going to be in the top 8. So you're basically trying to win 2 games before you lose 2 games and then win 2 pods before you lose 2 pods. Every single week until we get to the final 2 weeks, where we'll narrow it down to our last 8 players, and they're going to be battling out in a top 8 single elimination to see who we call champion of season 1. Can't wait. But which 16 players do we have taking part in MTGO Masters? Well, let's find out. Anu, who's our first pod?
So for our first week, we had Eduardo Sajgalik, Arya Karamchandani, Aspiring Spike, and Brian Bronduin. Eduardo and Arya both advanced, winning the pods, and Spike and Brian Bronduin, unfortunately, didn't do so hot, but they will be back later.
Yeah, didn't do so hot. They brought some really, really fun decks to see, and obviously the balance that week was amazing. Moving on to our second pod, we have got some outstanding players. Look at these bad boys. So last week, we've got Luna Love, which put up an absolute phenomenal performance on her take on a Loam deck, which, by the way, still blows my mind how cool that went. We've got one of the Power 9 content creators, Saffron Oliver himself. And then we've also got the Merfolk Master, Nikachu MTG. And then following up, Brad freaking Nelson. Ladies and gentlemen, that is pod 2. In pod 3, Anu.
Yeah, well, I'm going to one-up you here. I know you said Brad freaking Nelson. I'm going to say Corey freaking Baumeister. Let's go. We've got
Shots
Corey.
fired.
We've got Corbin Hosler from the coverage team, Carmen Klomparens from Team Play Design, and Reid Duke, our Hall of Famer and Pro Tour champion, also here battling it out. This is what we're watching this week, and you were really hyped about last week. I am equally as hyped about this week. It's going to be intense.
Yeah, just look at that lineup. But we've got another stacked one in pod number 4. Kicking it off, we have got Pro Tour champion Jake Beardsley. The Lord of the Rings Pro Tour, obviously super close to my heart, but one man that is super even more close to is Jake Beardsley. Of course, he took that down, one and done. First Pro Tour, first win. Then next up, we brought a Legacy expert, Jarvis Yu here, who won actually Legacy with that GP with my favorite deck, Lands. Can't wait to see it. Then an all-round great, a name known by every single person in the game. Cedric Phillips is joining MTGO Masters, ladies and gentlemen. That's next week. And finishing off the pod, we have got Emma Parlow, one of the best writers we have in Magic the Gathering. She's going to be turning up, obviously known for a bit of Pauper, but she's going to be playing her Modern Hearts content, try and get herself into that top 8. And that is going to be our all 16 players taking part in this event. So we kind of got like a new thing that we're doing. If you managed to watch week 1, something happened, but we managed to find the silver lining in that so we can bring it to you all. And now it's kind of a segment, and I really dig it, and you all seem to dig it. So we listen to your feedback, which is what we do literally every week. So if you got something, let us know, because we're going to have an interview with all of our players before we start the show. We're going to see what they're thinking of what's coming up and ask them a few questions. So welcome, everybody, to start. Here is everybody in the booth. You got me and Anu, and then you've got Carmen, Reid, Corey, and Corbin. Cannot wait for this. This is literally, I think this is my favorite segment each week now. I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to kick it off with the first question to you all. So I want to know, obviously there was a ban this week. How did that affect you picking your deck for this week's event? I'm going to start with Carmen because you're above me.
All right, so originally I really just wanted to try and reinvent the wheel. I wanted to see, hey, are these Cascade decks still viable? Is this still something we can do? And I ended up having a decent amount of success with it, but I wasn't positive if this would even be the post ban list format. And I put a lot of work into learning the Yawgmoth deck over the last 2 weeks. I think I've put a bunch of leagues in. I read a 40-page primer over the weekend. I spent a lot of time tuning the deck. Was really afraid to put it down, wanted to at least get a little bit out of it. So spoiler alert, I'm playing Yawgmoth. But I'm really looking forward to maybe revisiting those Cascade decks in the future weeks.
Right, moving across to you, Reid. Same question.
Me too, also playing Yawgmoth. So that was a natural choice because it's a deck that I have enjoyed a lot in the past, but kind of was always beat up by the Dimir Rhinos deck. And to Carmen's point, I do think Rhinos and Cascade can still work in Modern, but I kind of set my mind at ease by saying if people move away from Violent Outburst, maybe they play Bant Rhinos instead. At least they're not going to have the cheap burn spells like Dead Gone, Fire Ice to kill my mana dorks and stuff like that. So yeah, Yawgmoth, I think probably a lot of us were thinking of it as a winner from the bannings and a top deck. So I thought, start off with on hopefully a good note with Yawgmoth.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a Yawgmoth player as well. I think the deck's super well positioned now that potentially that deck's not going to see as much play. Moving on to you, Corey, what do you think?
So I was going to play Tron like I started the last season. I was going to just start being the evil person, but my brother played some Urza lands last week, so I didn't want to, just double up on Tron. So I decided to play Goryo's Vengeance, and I'm not going to lie, the Violent Outburst ban didn't really change it too much for me, as I didn't really put anyone on Rhinos for the first week. We all got to save, that most powerful deck until we're back up against the wall, where we have to win or we're eliminated from this thing. So I didn't really put anyone on Rhinos, and I wasn't going to play it, so didn't change too much for me.
Great. Last up, Corbin.
Yeah, I locked in on Mill weeks ago because it's Mill. It's sweet. All right. These leagues are great for that. And I was always going to mill them out. Now, I don't know what the Violent Outburst ban does to Mill in particular, but it's certainly going to be a lot of fun. Overall, I think that it opens it up because I think that the Cascade decks, as they become more strong over the years, making them play at sorcery speed and removing the force of negation protection specifically is going to do a lot to open up the format. And obviously Yawgmoth is the place to start, but that's also where people started after the last round of bannings, and it ended up that Rhinos took over. So we'll see if the format can kind of adapt to, step one where people are starting now with the popular decks. So hopefully this week milling out the Yawgmoth players works, or some surgical attractioning the Goryo's players. But
whoa, not cool, man.
Yeah, Corey's really happy about that. Our next question, Anu, go for it.
Yeah, so the next question is, and I think I've got the vibe from this listening to everybody already, but one thing that's really exciting about MTGO Masters and these small events is, you really get to tailor your deck against the opponents that you're playing against. So this is just going to go out to the open here. Anybody want to take it? But what was your prep like for this specific pod? Carmen, I know you mentioned earlier that you've just been training on Yawgmoth, and even Corbin said, weeks ago, Mill locked in. So you kind of just pick what you wanted, or was there some metagaming at hand?
Yeah, so actually, I generally really like these small field type of events and try to be pretty surgical with the way that I do metagame it. So knowing that at least a couple of weeks ago, I was going to be in a pod with Corbin, for example. I know Corbin likes the cool stuff, right? I want to be able to do something powerful, fast, proactive. I don't want to bring a control deck when I don't know, maybe he brings Emrakul the Aeon's Torn and my counter spells are terrible, right? Corey is someone I've played against a lot, and generally I don't think I can beat Corey in normal mid-range games. So I want to play a deck that creates a bunch of sub-games and trip him up there. So that ended up having me go into the Yawgmoth deck, right? It's proactive. It has a bunch of different game plans, trying to trip people up that way. And finally, I ended up changing a lot of cards in my deck, anticipating the things that I thought Reid would like. I know he loves his Overgrown Tombs. I kind of just put him on playing an Orcish Baumeister's deck. So, like, I'm not playing any ignoble hierarchs. I am really low on 1 toughness creatures. I've tried to slam my deck a little bit to hang a bit better in some of the grindy matchups. I have like an extra land, for example. So that was, there are a few different ways you can approach it, but that's at least how I thought about it when constructing and picking my deck.
That's awesome. And then for Corey and Reid, did you have any like fine tuning in the sideboard, for example, for what you may have expected, anything like that you brought to the table, or you just thought, you know what, I'm just going to keep something open, generic, because I'm good enough to beat everybody else at the table?
Well, I wouldn't say that. This is a lot of good players, that's for sure. So as far as what I put people on, kind of the same thing, for Reid, I guess maybe you've become predictable, because I definitely put you on an Overgrown Tomb deck as well. Something Jund adjacent, at least, as you're going to play some mid-range deck. Corbin, I really put you on Merfolks, so I didn't want to get my Tron land Spreading Seas. That didn't sound very fun to me. And then Carmen, you're always a wild card, so I knew you were just going to play a really strong deck. And so at the end, I just wanted to play a deck that I thought has game against everything. I was a little thrown back that I had to play against let me check my notes here. 3 Surgicals, 3 Extirpate, 3 Soul Guide Lantern deck. And when I'm trying to reanimate Atraxas, that should be a pretty fun first round here. But other than that, I was feeling okay going into this.
I saw the mill deck and thought, wow, my deck needs the graveyard to kind of go off. And I saw Corbin's deck before seeing Corey's, and that might be tough for my young wolf combo. And then I hit Corey's deck, and I just go, well, it could be worse.
Yeah. Oh, your young wolf, smallest violin.
If you're putting me on Merfolk, I was going for a deck that did not care about your life total. That's where we're at.
Love it. Love it.
I'm gonna go a little bit off the script here. Will, I know, is like cringing, but so on Monday there was actually a prelim result from one of the modern prelims that had rhinos at the hands of a very talented player, McWinsauce, going 4-0. Did any of you happen to see that, and did that put a little bit of fear in your hearts in terms of how you build your deck or something like that?
I still have chalices in the board.
Okay, respect. Hey, I appreciate that. Yeah,
I did not see it, and I did cut some rhino cards from my board.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, good to note. Just taking mental notes here. Yeah. Will, what's our next question for the players?
Go back. I think that's actually right. I think like the fact that one, he's a powerful mage, and 2, just I think a lot of people took it out of the board thinking the deck is not going to do as well, and turned up and crushed it. So yeah, I think that was awesome, and I like how you're all talking about that, because obviously, for people watching, we've told all our players this season, basically, when you use a deck once, you cannot use it anymore. Like, so, this is their one shot. So that we're talking about this meta game in a small pod. Now in the next pod, they're going to know, okay, wait, so Corbin can't be on mill. Okay, Corey can't be. So it's really interesting. We're really trying to test all our players this season, because we don't want to go through Evoke Mirrors like we did last season. So that's the real reason. I'm going to give it to you. But my last question, nice quick one for you all, is who do you want to see opposite you in the finals of MTGO Masters? Start with you, Carmen.
Arya. Easy. Sorry.
Easy.
Team play design. Like, come on.
That way. Reid.
Boy, it's a good question. I would say I was super excited to hear that Brad Nelson and Brian Braunduin were competing, because those are guys that I played with for years, and they're super awesome, but you don't get to watch them play that much anymore. So always rooting for them.
Okay, sick. Corey. I kind of know who we all want you to play in the final, but who do you want to play in the final?
Yeah, definitely not Brad. He beats me every single time I play against him in embarrassing fashion. But, I'd want to play against BBD in the finals. I feel like he is just washed enough that I think I can, have a good chance against him. I don't think he's fully back yet. So that's who I'd look to play.
Podcast reunion. Let's go.
Finalist special guest Brian Braunduin.
Yeah, very special guest.
Corbin, last up, who do you want to see opposite you in the finals?
Well, I've played some of these previous leagues and lost to most of the people here. So I could go with a revenge angle, but I'm going to say that I'd like to see Nikachu in the finals, because that means Merfolk will be very well represented.
Oh wait, are you saying you're both gonna save Merfolk until the finals? I doubt it. Okay, you will not be able to resist. You're both Merfolk masters. So.
Nikachu is telling me that the Merfolk Discord has designed a Merfolk list for every week that's technically 28 cards different.
Yeah, that's
So-
yep, that is what
The hive mind is growing there. The fish are growing. They're like, okay, we've got this. We've got this. This is how it works. But
Nikachu is the master of that. Okay, just he will change up a deck list, try cards you've never even thought of, and 5-0 a league. It's
Then I
wild.
scoop. I want to see that. So I'm. You got it. You're
tap
in.
out early. Well, on that one, we're going to let you all get off and we're going to start setting up the first matchup. We're going to go back to the booth with me and Anu, and we are going to start doing. We're going to tell you why this is possible. Obviously, this is an amazing show. We've got amazing guests, but we can only do this with amazing sponsors. So it is a vicious cycle. The more you support them, the more they can support us, the more that we can put these shows on. Better everybody involved.